Switching gears now, we've talked a little bit about next season, how good Luers can be. I want to get your take on who you think are going to be perhaps the top 3 teams this coming season in 2010 as far as the area high schools go, once you factor in graduation and who everybody's got coming back.
Well, obviously Luers will be among the best teams in the area, and you've always have your Snyders. Snyder's always going to be a program. They graduate a lot of kids off this year's team, but tell me they won't be back solid again next year, and they will be. But Bishop Dwenger has a lot of players coming back, in particular Ramond Wright and Tony Springman, and also Cameron Smith, a defensive back for Dwenger. They have a lot of young players as well, and they went all the way to the semi-state and battled Lowell down to the final second. So Dwenger will be good, Luers will be good, the ACAC champs of Leo will be good. They return Connor Kasser and Andrew Cecilio, their 2 top offensive players. So they will be back. And a sleeper team that just keeps getting better and better and better every year is Wayne. They've improved their win totals from 2 to 3 to 5 to 7, and they play Delta fairly tough in the tournament this year, and they have their top 3 runners back, Jordan Patterson, Tyrell Jones, and McQuell Banks. So all of those teams return a lot of players, and they'll all be solid next year.
As far as Dwenger goes, what do they need to do to get over that hump? Because Lowell, 2 of the past 3 years since the end of their season at state, but will they be a more talented team perhaps next year as some of the younger players, the Evan Feichters and such, kind of cycle in and have that extra year of experience? He'll be going from a sophomore to a junior.
Right. He'll have to step up and fill Landon's shoes a little bit and be a much more of a presence next year than he was this year. And, of course, Dwenger loses their quarterback, Wade Markley. Sure. But they lost their quarterback last year in Trevor Yerrick, and they were fine. So I assume they'll replace Wade Markley like they did Trevor Yerrick. But guys like Tony Springman will be a year bigger, a year stronger, a year faster. Same thing with Ramond Wright. He really elevated from kind of a backup role to a degree last year to the guy this year. He arguably was the best player in the area this year. Mm-hmm. So there'll be a number of young kids that elevate their game like Ramond Wright did this year that'll come completely out of the blue. But Dwenger is going to run into Lowell again, but the key for Lowell is they lost their senior running back, and that was really the key to their whole offense, was handing the ball off to him, and so he graduates. So Lowell should come down a notch if Dwenger can just get over that hump, and of course maybe they'll play him here next year, and so we'll see how it all plays out, but Dwenger will be fine next year.
All right, taking a look at the best players coming back. I know we're going to have a very talented junior class stepping up to be seniors next year. Obviously, teams will be graduating guys like Roderick Smith, Clayton Feichter down at Norwell, but certainly a lot of great players coming back in the year.
Oh, absolutely. Right here in Fort Wayne, Homestead's quarterback, Zach Terrell, he's a sophomore, will be a junior next year, but he will be that much better. This was his first year of quarterbacking the Spartans, and he was phenomenal. So he'll be that much better this year. I already mentioned Connor Kasser and Andrew Cecilio. I've already mentioned the Luers and Dwengers kids, but A.J. Dove and Tyler Truax of East Noble, they had a very strong years. They both return next year. I mentioned the 3 Wayne running backs. Well, Jordan Patterson's a quarterback, but he runs the ball predominantly. Those kids are all returning. And down at Belmont, Daniel Meyer and Forrest Fullenkamp are returning. Columbia City's quarterback, who was injured late in the year, Logan Rarer, had a great year up until that point, and Columbia City had great success in the tournament, and so they want to build on that behind Logan Rarer. So there is no shortage of talent next year. There were a number of really good seniors this year, but this area is so filled with depth when it comes to talent. A lot of sophomores and juniors are going to return next year and be all-state candidates.
In your eyes, who would be the front runner perhaps for the, Player of the Year award in next year? Would it be Kenny? Would it be Ramond?
Kenny
Springman?
and Ramond. Well, Springman's difficult to measure because he's a defensive player predominantly. He is an offensive lineman as well. So, but that type of position doesn't stand out like a skill position does. I can't say between Ramond Wright and Kenny Mullen. That's a coin flip. I mean, that's like, do you apples or oranges? I mean, they're both great players. And Ramond really, really elevated his game this year. You could make an argument that Ramond Wright was the best player in the area this year, let alone next year. Mm-hmm. And so both those kids are going to be phenomenal. James Kanapke is going to be that much better. Zach Terrell is going to be that much better. So who's the better quarterback? I don't know. They're both great.
That's true. That is true. It's been a fantastic season here on Inside the Zone. Tom, we appreciate all the time that you've taken with us and your expertise of Northeast Indiana football, and we thank you very much for logging on to Wayne.com.